Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
And what it led to. Now he drives that one out towards the gap in right center field. He's done it again. One hop up against the wall. One run is in. Here comes a big guy, Pozo. Throw home. He is safe. He got the hand in there. And he's making Jackson Holiday laugh, even as the guy who hit the double to make it 7-1 slides into second.
And you had to make some really hard choices, but this team has battled through it.
That's a fair ball inside the bag at third with the bases loaded. Holiday in, Alonso in. Here comes Henderson, and everybody scores. A monster inning for the Orioles. It's 10-1.
Baltimore Orioles as they pick up a 10-2 victory and a decent little weekend so far in Tampa. It's kind of a shame that this is one of those wraparound series because, like, it feels odd celebrating when there's still, you know, a game to be played. But we're a lot different place than we were when we were here last Thursday.
Ace is on the mound tonight. So.
That's right. There is that, but also they've got Shane McClanahan, so,
well,
you know.
He does pitch well, I guess, yeah. But the Orioles hit lefties now, so.
Oddly, they do. Oddly, that
is Tyler O'Neill gonna be leading off again tonight? You think,
or Pete Alonso?
Yeah.
That was just for an opener, I guess. Hi, good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Early start today because I am in on WBAL the next few afternoons. Made that really smart decision when I'm planning a major event at my home this week to work all of my jobs, all of them. I had Loyola last night. I got him again Thursday night. I got all of 6 straight days at BAL, all of the jobs. Really brilliant decision on my part when, you know, my wife is literally screaming at me every couple of minutes and reminding me about something that I haven't done to prepare for hosting a party this Saturday. Which, by the way, if you're in our inner circle, you are invited, but you got to be like, I got to know you. If you're like somebody that like just sort of lingers in distance, that's a little bit tougher because I don't know you. And this is my home, you know. Like I do invite people to my home. A lot of people have asked me about that over the years. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm rolling the dice a little bit. I think it's a little bit iffy. But I mean, I mostly trust
everyone.
I mostly trust Griffin, like for the most part.
Everybody else will be watching out.
Some of the people he brings with him, I got questions about.
My sister, you don't trust her?
No, your sister's very nice. Is she coming again this year?
I don't think she's gonna make it this week. Yeah, I think she's going to New York this weekend.
What's going on in New York?
I don't know. She's just going.
Just living,
summertime in New York.
Living the high life. I don't know. She's like on Wall Street now or something. Good for her. But yeah, so I got a busy week. That's why we're starting a little bit early today.
If anyone can handle it.
What's that?
If anyone can handle it.
Who?
You don't think you can handle it?
Me?
Yeah.
No,
no,
not at all. You have no idea how many things I'm going to completely forget. Also, on top of all of that, I had someone important invite me to the Foo Fighters show this evening.
Oh.
In D.C. I don't have time.
Go.
I'm going to because of who invited me. And it's like, look, I enjoy the Foo Fighters quite a bit, but I've also seen the Foo Fighters plenty of times. I don't need to see them again this evening, and it involves driving to D.C., which I don't know if you guys are aware of. Sucks ass. Plus, I
Yeah,
just
but you're
kinda,
leaving at a good time. Like
I kind of
5
just want to
o'clock,
watch
right?
the idea of watching the Orioles and playing trivia tonight. This is sort of how I want to spend my evening, and so the Foo Fighters thing was kind of thrown at me. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Yes, obviously a lovely weekend for the Birds. Coming up in just a few minutes, Brian Anderson, Rays color analyst, former MLB pitcher. He was on the call yesterday. He's been on the call all weekend because he does the Rays broadcast, but he was on the call that we all saw yesterday on Peacock along with Brian Roberts. It was the Brian Show for the Orioles blowout win after a couple of one-run wins on Friday and Saturday. And then we will discuss whatever there is to discuss from the Ravens preseason game.
Lots,
Again,
yeah.
I almost thought about bringing
You hear
back
about this guy, Jacoby Lane?
No, tell me about him. I almost thought about bringing back a bit that I used to do. So when the Orioles were in the worst of the dark ages, not the more recent dark ages, not the 1998 to 2011 dark ages, the 2019, 2020, 21, seriously. I had set a policy with our buddy Paul Valley, now with the bat around, when Paul was in that chair. I had said, Paul, I'm not going to be watching the Orioles every night. Like, I can't do that. I'm going to watch NBA playoffs. I'm just going to find other things to do. I can't put myself through this every night. But I acknowledge that there are still people that will be watching the Orioles every night, and for them, I will allow you to do 1 minute every day on the Orioles. Put the clock on, and we'll call you, our 1 minute man, right? Like, that'll be the way that it'll go. And so Paul, of course, the 1 minute man. I thought about bringing that bit back for Ravens preseason games for you to try to have 60
Well, I would
seconds
need at least
to
probably
say,
like 5 minutes.
That's the problem. We would not allow it. Only have 60 seconds, and frankly, I think that's too much.
I don't like it.
But because of my
I
other
think-
jobs, I'm kind of required to actually watch a little bit of Ravens preseason. I'm not going to pretend like it was the focal point of my Saturday evening. I was watching the Orioles, but I did have on a side screen and looked over a couple of times because I was on WBAL on Sunday
The
morning.
little music, I guess they're not music, but the little beds are still there. The 1 minute clock.
The 1 minute. Did
And
we
the-
do
and
it
the
for
2 minute clock.
Did we do it for something else?
I don't know. Well,
I
we
think-
just never deleted it.
I think
Like,
maybe
we must have,
I think maybe I gave him on Mondays 2 minutes. I think because there were three games,
games.
I allowed him.
Well, shouldn't
2
have been
minutes
three
on
minutes?
Mondays. What's that?
should have been
No.
3 minutes.
No, that would have been. It was still entirely too much at 2 minutes, but I think that's what it was. And then the rest of the week, it was 1 minute.
So Paul was like, "I can't believe Rio Ruiz."
Yeah. Want to tell me about Stevie Wilkerson? All right, but
I can't believe they brought in Steve Wilkerson to close out the game.
Oh, Steven Wilkerson, little Stevie, they called him. Who I was trying to think of, like, who were some other guys. I couldn't figure out if this guy. He definitely wasn't part of those teams. There was somebody who reminded me of an Oriole that existed, and I was
Renato
like,
Nunez.
well, I always, of course, got Rio Ruiz and Renato Nunez
Yeah.
confused. And to this day,
They
I
play
couldn't
together?
tell you.
They must have
yes,
played
they
together. Okay.
absolutely played together. And then when Ramon Arias came along, I said,
I
I
thought
know
it was the same guy.
I just sort of said, like, dude, what are we doing here? Now, as it turns out, that guy was half of a baseball player.
Gold Glover.
Unlike let's ease up on all that. Somebody reminded me of an Oriole who was with the team in 2002 and then again in 2006 named Howie Clark, and I swear to God,
cousin?
I said, no, there wasn't. You're making that up. That is not a real person. But not only was he there, he came back as a coach in 2017, 18, and 19. Who knew?
Wow.
Who knew?
He brought losing with him.
You want to do the thing?
Oh,
We'll do the thing to
Orioles,
talk about
the 1 minute
to
clock.
talk about no, not the 1 minute clock. We'll do the thing to talk about the weekend that was for the Birds.
Three up.
And 3 down.
3 Up and 3 Down is brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is gone. And this one with Kevin Brown gone in the next day or two and will be replaced by a brand new print issue of Press Box with new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter on the cover.
Before he's
That will
done
be
anything?
available. That's a great point. Will it be the Press Box?
I guess he is
coach?
1-0, and
That's
he's
a great point. Don't forget that. Perfect record. You'll be able to get that at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores for free, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all for free at PressBoxOnline.com. Coming this week, a brand new print issue of Pressbox. Because the Orioles ultimately ended up going 4-2 for the week, we can begin with the down for this week. My number 3, there were a lot of options for number 3, a few reliever. The problem was, like, with the relievers that were options for number 3, they had, like, a really bad effort, and then they also had, like, a really good effort during the course of the week. So it was hard to say definitively that, like, Rico Garcia or even
Grant
Wolfram, who I really struggled to not put on this list. But it was really bad, but then also really good. So I ultimately went with Christian Franklin at number 3, went 1 for 10 for the week. And the way that I'm describing is right now he looks more like he's in theory and less in practicality. Like in theory, the fact that he does other things that your other outfielders do makes him make sense for a roster spot, but in practicality, he's just not actually doing those things. Now, for what it's worth, a couple weeks ago, we were all down on Leody Taveras, and I'm glad the Orioles didn't DFA Leody Taveras at that point in favor of Eston Kjerstad. But it's kind of hard to justify Christian Franklin's roster spot. He's just not really doing anything. He's my number 3.
I struggled with my number 3. I think for both on both sides of the list. So I had Dylan Beavers here.
Okay.
It was a really good week for the offense, and he only had 3 hits, and he struck out 9 times.
I thought about Kobe Mayo as well.
Chances. Yeah,
for this spot. I thought.
But Beavers, he's getting these opportunities, and he's still. I guess he had a home run this week, and he had a big hit over. Was that Saturday or Friday? I think it was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, that he had a 2-run single, I think.
Yep.
But that was he's striking out a lot, and it's every time almost like it's
I
so.
hear you.
Dylan Beavers my number 3.
Shane Baz, number 2 for the week. It's a bummer because Shane Baz has been so good, and then they went and got him runs for the first time, and then he kind of threw up all over himself. But it happened, and if Shane Baz had just been anything similar to what he had been, the Orioles would have had a 5-1 week. Shane Baz, number 2.
He was my number 1. Shane Baz was my number 1. Carlos Narvaez was my number 2.
He's my number 1.
I'm hoping
I know. You're in that moment where you're like, how do you possibly look at Joel Pozo right now and all of that and say you're going to get rid of that when Samuel Basayo returns?
I feel like he knows his role better, too. Like, he's the fun backup catcher.
It's very difficult, right? It's very difficult because I know exactly what you're saying, but we also know that Joel Pozo isn't really a baseball player.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I hear you.
It might be. Might be one of the best ever.
It's very difficult. But yeah, Carlos Narvaez.
And his name's fun.
Who was 1 for 14 for the week, was number 1.
Again, I think he went 1
list.
for 14 last week, too. Like,
yeah, it's not. There's just not a whole lot there.
Pozo went 2 for 5.
I hear you.
He might be on the up list.
No, he was not.
He might be.
My number 3, again, the only thing that made it difficult was he had a bad outing this week. But what he did this weekend, as you see him up on the board in the middle, what he did this weekend was ridiculous. Cam Sanders is number 3 on this list, and I could not believe that's where they were going on Friday night. I'm like, you're doing what now? You're doing what? And you can say, hey, he didn't really do anything. He made 1 pitch, and it just happened to be a fly ball to center field. But I don't know, just not vomiting all over yourself in that spot when everything was falling apart against the best team in baseball. You start with that. And then on Saturday, to inherit a runner at second base and somehow get out of it without allowing that run to score with a couple of big strikeouts, Cam Sanders was bonkers this weekend. And so, yes, he had a bad outing last week, but that it is easy to ignore that when you did what you did in those 2 spots. Cam Sanders, who's on the board with 2 other guys. Jackson Holliday's not going to be on the list, so Jackson Holliday's on the board from yesterday.
He didn't make my list. Cam Sanders didn't make my list. I think
insane.
He still was not good in Minnesota.
It's fine. Yeah, some things outweigh others.
Kyle Bradish and Brandon Young I guess they both technically had quality starts, but they were very laborious.
Yes, they were.
Christian Encarnacion Strand is my number 3.
Yeah.
He drove in a lot of runs. That ball that he hit in Minnesota still hasn't landed yet. So
that's true.
Big hit yesterday. True. Christian CES is my number 3.
Doesn't have the balls of Cam Sanders. Number 2
I don't know, he might.
Gunnar Henderson, who obviously has been much maligned this season. He went on the board for Friday night when they dropped him to 5th in the order, and he responded by going 4 for 4. Now, it looks like that's sort of going to be their lineup against lefties. And again, who actually leads off, I'm not sure. We joked about Kobe Mayo last week. We saw both Alonso and Tyler O'Neill lead off. That's wild. But it looks like they're going to drop him a little bit against lefties. And even when he wasn't producing this week, like yesterday, you could tell he was hitting the ball really well, just with a lot of bad luck. And earlier in the year, you sense that would be overwhelming for him, but it was nice to see him keep a smile on his face. And yes, you don't worry about it quite as much on a day where the team scores 10 runs. Huge week for Gunnar. We'll see. Again, you pray that this is the moment for him, that he becomes Gunnar Henderson again. He's got to actually definitively prove that the rest of the season, but if he does, it is a game changer for this team and what they might be capable of doing.
Well, he struck out twice all week, too. So Gunnar's my number 2 as well. I mean, yeah, he had a really good week, but that other guy had a really good
Pete
week.
Alonso. I'm starting to think the Rays are going to regret not giving him $1 billion. Like, I know they don't ever pay baseball. Well, that's not true. They paid
one
Wander
guy.
Franco, and look at how that worked out for him.
And he plays while hurt. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
That's something that apparently never happens anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's who he is. That's why what Buck always used the word he posts. Pete Alonso was just an absolute dog. Just an absolute dog all week. Just awesome. I don't know what else there is to say. Awesome. Glad he's on our team. Pete Alonso, an easy choice for number 1. So what does it all mean? We'll get that up at GlennClarkRadio.com. What does it all mean? No idea. And it's the thing that we always say about the Orioles, is to this point, nothing that they have done has been predictive. The vibes have never carried over. There is nothing that has mattered from one day to the next. Oddly, they've won their last 6 that they've played against the Rays. Go figure that, right? How does that make sense? I don't have any definitive feeling about whether or not this is the moment that we'll look back on and say, boy, they were running out of time, but they figured it out just in time, or whether this was just them winning 3 games, 2 of which they won by the skin of their teeth. I don't have a clue. Now, some of that's baseball. Some of that's unique to this team and how imperfect they are. Some of the easy takeaways are, if you're getting this version of Gunnar Henderson, you're going to be about 1 million times better than you've been. That's the easiest thing to say. This version of Gunnar Henderson can completely change a team. When you were looking at Orioles lineups and seeing like, boy, there's like 2 hitters in here that I have any faith in at all, it was tough. If you're getting a Jackson Holiday who's turning the corner and a Gunnar Henderson who's getting back to form, then game on. Now, as Griffin pointed out, the starting pitching had been brilliant for the month leading up and has been not as brilliant. And I still don't believe that there's an ace or a stopper on this team. I think there are good pitchers, and I'm still worried about innings for some of those guys if they can make. And again, they wake up today, they're sitting in a playoff position, which is effing insane for a team 2 games under 500. I have lots of concerns. Yanier Cano was like the one bullpen arm that you could trust, and then on Friday night, he did everything in his power to yak it up. I don't know what I really have faith in, but the vibes were good. The crotch grab stuff seemed to be fun. I'm sure that there's somebody within the Orioles organization who will say, maybe not that, guys. Can we pick something else? Is there something else that we could do besides that? You know, I'm sure that'll come up, but I have no interest in slowing down their fun, their momentum. All of this is good. Are they really turning the corner? They're going to have to prove that. And they've got 7 more games against the Rays and Yankees over the course of the next week that are going to go a long way to telling us that answer. By stacking the first 3, they put themselves in really good shape. The problem is the Orioles still can't afford to be a 500 team moving forward. When you're sub 500, I know that you're sub 500 and holding a playoff spot, but someone is going to break through. You can't just sit here and hope. This is like the scene in Apollo 13 where you got to keep the moon in the window. You can't just hope that you're going to keep it in the window. Someone is going to break through of this bunch of 6 teams. You've got to prove that it can be you. 3 games, certainly a solid sign of at least life. But it's got to be sustained. You can't just revert back to 500 baseball. That's not going to be good enough down the stretch in order to get in. Let's talk more about it. Our next guest, of course, Rays color analyst, former MLB pitcher, and he was also on the Peacock and NBCSN broadcast yesterday alongside our buddy Brian Roberts. He is Mr. Brian Anderson, and he is with us now here on GCR. Brian, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Absolutely. No problem. This has not been the greatest series for the Rays,
right.
Obviously coming off that road trip where they went 9-0, but I'll tell you what, Baltimore is playing a scrappy brand of baseball. And they've got themselves right back into a spot right now.
Yeah, I was going to say the Rays could afford it. The Orioles couldn't afford anything other than this. Brian, I ask you to look at our team. What do you make of this? Because I just said, I have no idea. Nothing the Orioles have done all year has been predictive. As you know, the Orioles swept the Rays earlier this year in Baltimore, and it didn't mean anything long term for them as their ability to sustain it. I will acknowledge, if you are getting this version of Gunnar Henderson, I do think that could prove to be a complete game changer and something that could make this sustainable for the Orioles.
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, he could be having a better series than he's actually had because of how many balls that he has hit hard that the Rays have been able to make, great plays on. He had 2 extra base hits taken away from him in yesterday's game alone. So, I mean, he really is swinging the bat well. But, it's really not a surprise either because it's pretty interesting coming into this series. I don't know where he's at right now, but coming into this series, only Mike Trout had a higher OPS against Rays pitching than Gunnar Henderson. He's completely owned this organization, which is really interesting because, Rays year in and year out run out some pretty impressive pitching staffs, but Gunnar Henderson has had a ton of success against them. So I don't know any other thing. It's funny because he had the 4-hit game in game 1. And I was like, his batting average looked low to me, obviously. And so I went back before he came into town. And over the previous 20 games, he was hitting 157. 157. He had 11 total hits. And then he gets here. And in game 1, he goes 4 for 4 with a homer, drives in a couple of runs. And so you're like, well, that's what he does to Rays pitching. So I don't know what it is about that, but he is swinging the bat very well. And you're right. If he can continue to do that, Pete Alonso is just red hot right now. And you're getting some big hits from Jackson Holliday. So you're getting different guys in the lineup that are contributing. And if that can continue, then I was hearing what you were saying previously about there's going to be a team that breaks through. Well, maybe it's Baltimore. Maybe it's Baltimore because you're right. There are 6 or 7 teams within a game and a half of each other for that final wild card spot. And so it's 500 ball. You're 100% correct. That's not going to cut it. Someone's going to have to take off. And maybe it's them.
What do you, I brought this up because oddly for a month, as you referenced what the Orioles were doing coming in, for about a month, the Orioles starting pitching was carrying them. And then, the last kind of time through, it hasn't been as dominant, but still solid, right? Trevor Rogers was solid yesterday, and Kyle Bradish was solid, put a lot of guys on base, but he was certainly solid. Is there enough there that if they can get the offense going, to your point, they can be that team that comes through out of this mess and solidifies themselves as being worthy of going in the playoffs?
I do believe that. I actually do because, you got Chris Bassett back. And while he's not going to overwhelm anybody with velocity and lighten up, radar guns, he is a veteran who knows how to pitch, who knows how to work himself around a lineup. And, maybe this end of the year being in a playoff race, gets him rejuvenated, gets him going. That's entirely possible. Kyle Bradish, I know how good that guy can be. You guys have seen him. He's a guy that can be a really, top front end, starter. And same thing with Rogers. It was interesting going into yesterday's game and looking at his year. His first 10 starts, he had a 6.8 ERA. In his last 12, he had a 2.4, and then threw a good game yesterday. So, and I know that we were talking with Craig Alvarez, before the game, and he really liked where Trevor Rogers was. And he said he's in good rhythm. And when he's in good rhythm, he's able to command the fastball. And when he's able to command the fastball, then all of his secondary pitches work off of that. So, listen, I think that there is enough there. And I think that this group, quite frankly, because of what went on at the trade deadline, I think that this group is playing with the chip on their shoulder. I think that they're like, really? That's what you think?
Mm-hmm.
We can do this. We can do this. And I think that there is a certain edge that clubhouse may have just because of that.
He is Brian Anderson, World Series champion, Rays color analyst, and, of course, was working the game yesterday for NBCSN. He's with us here on GCR before the Orioles and Rays plays Game 4. I want to get your sense on two other things related to the Orioles, and I want to talk to you about the Rays, Brian. The first being, Griffin and I were just talking about this. I know you don't know this clubhouse the way you know the Rays clubhouse, but those scenes yesterday, and I know that there will be people that will clutch their pearls about, crotch grabs and things like that. But what you just alluded to, there's maybe kind of us against the world mentality. It felt like maybe that was coming out a little bit in this group yesterday. And Griffin and I were just having this conversation where I don't want to oversell Joel Pozo because I get it. He's probably not really an MLB caliber catcher. But, man, when you've got a guy that seems to be vibing like this, and they acquired Carlos Narvaez, they won him, but Samuel Basallo's coming back. It's really tough for me. It feels like almost I don't want to mess with this in the moment because it seems like there might be something there that these guys are feeding off of. And, the guys that Buck Showalter would tell me about the role of the backup catcher a lot over years and how important it is. There's a part of me that's like, I don't know, man. I don't know that you can send this cat down right now because it just feels like maybe he's playing a role that goes beyond just getting behind the plate every fourth or fifth day.
Well, certainly. I think that I'd love to know the story behind that yesterday because that was deliberate. That was planned. So I have no idea what that story is. I got Brian Roberts on it. Hopefully he can find out for me and we can enjoy a laugh about it. But yeah, that was something along the lines of what I was kind of alluding to, that this team is, you get the feeling that they are playing obviously together, but they are playing with a purpose and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And, maybe he's a guy that helps bring that because again, yesterday that was interesting to say the least, but it seemed like everybody got a kick out of it in that dugout.
It definitely seemed like it was galvanizing for whatever reason. I'm sure there's somebody within the organization who's like, can we pick something else? Can we do something besides this?
Right.
Brian, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about this group, you saw them on both Friday and Saturday night. Have the Orioles found something in Cam Sanders? I mean, he's a journeyman that they're throwing in there. I mean, we all had the same feeling on Friday night. Like, oh, of course, this is the Rays we're talking about. But he got out of it, and then obviously what he did in the 10th inning. Is it possible the Orioles have found something?
That's entirely possible. I've seen that I don't know how many times with the Rays, where the Rays will either bring a pitcher in an unheralded trade, or they'll pick him up off the waiver wire, and the next thing you know, he's getting huge outs for the team, late in important games. So that's entirely possible. And I know that Craig Alvarez, again, yesterday when we were talking to him, he mentioned, he's like, he was on the waiver wire. He goes, and we pick him up, and he said, and I'm putting him into some tough spots. And, boy, he's coming through and making some big pitches. And he's got an interesting little arm slot. He kind of flings the ball off to the side and can run it up there with some of that upshoot type action. And there's no reason to believe that if Baltimore's not giving him, the right kind of information. You saw it the last couple of days, getting some big outs in some big spots. And so I've seen it over and over and over again here in Tampa. And there's no reason to believe that it couldn't be happening right now in Baltimore too.
Brian, aside from the last 3 days, obviously it's been a magical season in Tampa. How do they keep doing this? I think it's more uncomfortable for us this year because it feels like we're getting shot by our own gun with, Cedric Mullins and Jorge Mateo and now Tyler Wells joining into the mix as well. But how do they keep figuring it? Brian Baker, God, how do they keep figuring out ways to keep this train rolling and continue to be as good as they are year in, year out, despite obviously not having the resources of the, LA Dodgers or the New York Yankees?
I think that they do a masterful job of identifying talent, characteristics of talent, skill sets, strengths of a player. I think they do a masterful job of doing that and then being able to build a team with that knowledge. And it was really interesting with this team right here. I think the Rays have realized unless you have a homegrown slugger, we don't have the money right now to go out and pay for one. We can't go get the top, we can't go spend the money to get a Kyle Tucker if he was going to be the high-end guy on the market last offseason, whoever it may be. So either you develop your own, which is not really easy to do. They have one in Junior Caminero, of course, but you either develop your own or you need to find a different kind of offensive identity.
Yep.
And that's what they did. And so they went out and they prioritized getting guys and bringing them in that can run the bases aggressively, can steal bags, can get bunts down, prioritize, putting the ball in play, try to limit strikeouts, do it all the little things. And that became their offensive identity. Now, they sit at 10th or 11th in the American League in home runs, but they're right at the top of the leaderboard since the beginning of July. So that part of their game is starting to trend upwards, which, they're thrilled with. But more than that, they've got a lot of other ways that they can beat you. And they're a team that doesn't wait until it's late in the game and the game is close to start moving base runners and butting guys over. They'll do that in the first inning. They'll do that in the second inning. They make themselves very difficult to defend. And we see mistakes made all the time by visiting teams or when we're on the road. They put a lot of pressure on a pitcher and the defense. And we see mistakes made all of the time because they're seeing a brand of baseball that they don't see a lot of. And so they make mistakes. They throw the ball to the wrong base. They hold the ball. They bobble the ball because the Rays have a ton of speed, especially when you think about, Chandler Simpson. So I think that they just do a great job of identifying, earmarking players and, hey, we really like what you do with this. And they bring them in and, they shore up the weaknesses. They make the strengths a little bit better. And all of a sudden the guy becomes a guy. And then you got a guy like Brian Baker, who, like you were just talking about, he's leading, at least a couple of days ago, he was leading the league in saves and had saved like his last 23 for his last 23. He's been absolutely, dynamic at the back end of that pen. So they just have a great behind the scenes group that knows how to put a team together.
Do they have
and they do it on the shoestring budget. Do
they have enough to win the World Series, Brian?
You know what? It's really funny. Coming into this series, I had, been on a show and said that I believe that this Rays team absolutely could win a World Series. And from seeing what has been around the league, you say that they're the most well-rounded team, all-around team in the American League, at least. You can nitpick on certain parts. You could say, well, the Yankees top-end starters maybe are better than the Rays top-end starters. Maybe you can make that argument. But then I can point to other parts of the team where the Rays are much deeper and much stronger. So I think that they absolutely have a chance. But, they obviously have to get out of this malaise that they've been in since they've come back home, which nobody saw coming, going 9-0 on a West Coast road trip and then coming home and having a day off to kind of decompress you just wonder, if the attention to detail has been there, because Baltimore, who was not having that great of a road trip, has rolled right into Tropicana Field, where, by the way, the Rays have the best home record in Major League Baseball, and it's not that close. And Baltimore rolls right in and has completely handled them, the first 3 games, including obviously the blowout yesterday.
In the words of the late John Sterling, that's baseball, Susan. You just don't know. There's no way to predict when these things are going to happen. Brian Anderson, it was a lot of fun with you and B-Rob on the call yesterday. I'm sure you would have been having more fun if the score had looked a different way, but I still appreciate you taking the time for us. Look forward to chatting more. Thanks so much for hopping on with us this morning.
Yeah, no, that yesterday was a blast. Brian Roberts, what a great dude. It was awesome getting to know him, or to get a chance to talk to him the couple days leading in and working with him yesterday. He's a great guy and does a great job. So, it was a lot of fun. And like you said, that's baseball. Hey, my days of taking losses home with me are long gone.
I appreciate that. Yeah, right. You can't do anything about it anymore.
That's right. That's right. I try to do my best to bring it to the viewer, give them a peek behind the curtain. But when that game's over, I go home.
Hey, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hopping on with us.
All right. Take care.
Brian Anderson down in Tampa, of course, former World Series winning pitcher with the Diamondbacks, now Rays color analyst. And I thought the NBC broadcast was very good. I'm always torn on those, split booth concepts, but those guys definitely seem to, for guys that don't work together, they seem to have a good back and forth yesterday. And
right. I mean, if I was Brian Anderson, I think, I might just be pouting the whole time.
Well, it's funny too. Like, maybe we just feel this way because the Orioles won 10-2. Maybe if you had asked me after the Orioles lost 10-2,
and then Brian Roberts has to be like, "Wow, Cedric Mullins is playing so well."
Right? Like, maybe I'd say this
but
broadcast stinks. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. We'll come back in. The Ravens played their first preseason game on Saturday. What stood out to our guy Dan Wilcox, former Ravens tight end, joins us next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey O's fans, summer is in full swing, and so is the Birdland Summer Music Series presented by CFG Bank. Hit the yard on Friday, August 21st as the Orioles take on the Rays. Then enjoy a live post-game concert by 90s icons Vanilla Ice, Tone Loc, Tag Team, and Tretch from Naughty by Nature. Watch from your seat or score a field pass to get even closer to the action. Get your tickets to see I Love the 90s at Orioles.com/music.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Don't fumble your fantasy football draft. Host your party at Sports and Social inside Live Casino. We've got everything you need to make the night a winner with massive screens, cool drinks, great food, and Wi-Fi that won't drop the ball. Reserve your table by August 20th to enter our early draft bonus drawing. Draft like a pro at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Dave LaMonaco profiles Orioles play-by-play voice Kevin Brown, looking at his rise as an amiable mainstay and one of the top voices in all of baseball. Also inside, Antonio Barbera looks at whether the championship window is narrowing for the Ravens veteran core. And our special travel section, with a look at sports tourism options throughout Maryland for you and your family to enjoy this summer. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
We are really inching closer to the start of high school football season here in the state of Maryland. Private schools will be getting going here very shortly, and everything you need to know at the start of high school football season you can find out by going to countysports.zone. That's countysports.zone, and proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Look, as I said earlier, I did not oh, by the way, shout out the Maryland Charm. Maryland Charm, first ever WL champions. I didn't want to forget about that. Way to go, Charm.
Great game.
Hell yeah.
Sydney Black.
She's a stud, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love the Charm. First ever champions of the WLL. Fitting. Maryland should be the first ever champions of the WLL. That's
Maybe the only champions. Maybe they just win all of them.
I love the idea of that. That sounds great to me. Unfortunately, the Whip Snakes. Yikes.
Nah, we're in the we're
yeah, they're in.
The
that is true. They're in.
The
also, why is there a bye week before the playoffs? It's very odd. But yeah, the Whip Snakes sneak in, but struggling, limping into the quarterfinals, where they will take on Boston in a couple of weeks. But yeah, shout out the Charm. That's the thing that right now. That's all we care about. Let's go, you Maryland Charm. Griffin's trying to show you Sydney Black, but it's been a real struggle for him.
No, there's a lot of different moving parts.
Courtesy of ESPN. Was she had 4 goals?
Yeah.
Sydney Black!
That was the fourth.
She's a rock star.
Oh my God!
She is a rock star. Congratulations to the Maryland Charm. We love them. All right, now, I am not going to lie to you and pretend as though I was hyper-focused on the Ravens preseason game because, as you know, that's not for me. But I did watch more than I have in years and saw a lot of the same things that you did. It's always the reminder, like this is always the disclaimer. We're going to talk about it. We're going to let Dan Wilcox talk about it. Your mind is going to play tricks on you. It is.
I don't know. If the kicker can't make a field goal.
That's a different conversation that we can have. And I want to have. But your mind is going to play tricks on you when you keep raving about everybody that looks good. You're going to attempt to look at it independently and remove all of the context. Who are they going up against? What was the game plan? All of those things. For example, I've seen an awful lot of very smart people. Our buddy Femi, for example, raving about Javon Gwynn. Is Javon Gwynn the guy now at center? I don't know. I've always thought that this was a competition at center. I always thought that if Ethan Posick was ready to go, he was the center. But is it possible there's more of a competition that they really are looking at? I don't know. That's the difficulty, as I've said before, about we don't have history with Jesse Minter and Declan Doyle and, in this case, Dwayne Ledford to know how they view these things. And if someone has to have a leg up because of what you're paying them or where they were drafted or whatever those circumstances might be. I don't know. But I would constantly say, don't let your mind deceive you. It's still preseason football. The players that are up on the other side matter here. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing for anyone to have looked good. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt. But it doesn't necessarily mean anything either. And it's always a very difficult adult conversation to have because, well, these are the games that are happening. This is the evidence we have. This is the film we can watch. So we want it to matter. If you went to the game, you want it to matter. You want it to be relevant. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but it's the disclaimer that I always give in these circumstances. Beware. You might be giving too much credence just because you're watching. That said, lots of good from Saturday night's preseason opener. Joining us now, former Ravens tight end. He was actually back in town last weekend, hanging out at training camp out in Owings Mills. Let's get his thoughts on what we've seen so far. Always a pleasure to welcome our guy from the We Bleed Purple podcast, the great Dan Wilcox, back with us now here on GCR. Dan, it's Glenn. What's going on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm great, Glenn. How are you doing today, sir? Thanks for having me on.
Brother. It's great to hear from you. I got a couple things I want to talk about with you because I'll be honest, talking to a lot of folks that have been out there, the word has been that like the tight end room has not had the best training camp on the whole and that no one has really shined. And then we see on Saturday night, Nate Hibner, like not just make catches, but get upfield and look like a guy who can move a little bit. What do you make of what you've seen from Hibner in particular? And given what they're missing in Isaiah Likely, where do you feel like the tight end room is at this point, a few weeks away from the start of the season?
Glenn, I feel like we're solid. I feel like the tight end room is solid. I think we got a great room. I like Quavers, and I like Hibner. I think both of those guys are playing well, and I think Smythe is going to be a great addition because he's more of a Nick Boyle type. And I think he's going to be a big blocker for us. I think we're in a really good situation. You know, we still have Mark Andrews, and I think what people are kind of caught up in is they've seen Isaiah Likely be so dynamic, and you're going to give these guys a smaller grade because you've seen Isaiah Likely make so many big plays. And I think these guys are going to be great for us. They're two consistent, solid tight ends. They're both physical. They both play hard. And from what I've seen in the day I went to training camp, which was last weekend, I mean, these guys I think they're going to develop into a nice little tight end core that you're going to have between Hibner and Quavis. I think those two guys are going to be the future for this franchise. I think they'll be here for years to come.
You and I talked last week. Obviously, there's no slowing down the Jacoby Lane train. He has backed up in his first preseason game everything that we had seen from him during the course of training camp. I always try to have this conversation. How do we talk about this like adults? Are you looking at someone that you believe as a rookie could be an immediately impactful, highly productive type of player? Or are you seeing someone that you say, this guy can make some catches, but let's not go crazy with how we talk about him going into his rookie season?
No, I think Lane is in a really great situation. You got Zay Flowers, who's arguably one of the top 10 receivers in the league right now. Then you got Mark Andrews, who's top 5 tight ends in the league right now. Then you bring in a guy like Lane, who has the size, the catch radius, and the hand size that he has. I think the kid has a really great opportunity to do something special this year. I mean, he could possibly end up getting a Rookie of the Year award if he gets the amount of balls that we think he could possibly get this season. I don't know what a Declan Doyle offense looks like with Lamar Jackson, but I know who Lamar Jackson is. Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal quarterback, and I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. So if this kid, if he gets in where he fits in, you never really know what could possibly happen with this kid. The sky's the limit, but you can't double him, and you can't give him too much attention because then you're going to leave Zay Flowers wide open, and you're going to leave Mark Andrews wide open. We both know Lamar loves Mark. We both know he loves Zay. So now you add a guy like this in because Bateman has struggled over the years, but even Bateman is looking a lot better too. And one of the things I was talking to Kadri Ismail, about Bateman. Like, what do you think about Bateman right now? I mean, I know he got to be a little nervous with these two young guys with Surratt and Lane coming up. And we both kind of agreed that this offense probably be that guy this year too. So, I mean, I wouldn't jump and say that Lane is going to get offensive player of the year, rookie player of the year just yet, because we don't know what's going to happen throughout the season. But all it takes is one injury for him to be the start next. And then next thing you know, the lights turn on and we're off to the races.
Dan Wilcox is with us here on GCR. Dan, one question. It's not related to what we saw on Saturday. What we didn't see on Saturday is we didn't see Lamar Jackson out there again. And this conversation gets louder because, like, we see, obviously, Joe Burrow's playing in the preseason and Josh Allen's playing in the preseason. And, as you just alluded to, there's a new offensive coordinator. We don't know what this looks like yet, and a new head coach. Is there any part of you? I know the risk, and I have always been in favor of the way the Ravens have typically handled this and said, let's not put those guys out there. But the uniqueness of this year and the new staff, is there any part of you that would like to see Lamar Jackson see the field over the course of the next couple of weeks in the preseason?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to start working on rhythm of your team. And you can't get that rhythm started if you don't get these guys on the field and play strong. I remember when I came out, the starters didn't play very much at all the first preseason game. We had 4 games then. If I'm correct, I think they got 5 now. So if you don't play the first game, to me, that doesn't mean anything. The second week, that first week when we came out, the starters would play only one series, one drive. If that drive was 3 and out, then they was done for the day.
Yeah.
So if they drove down the field with 15 plays, that's what you would want to see if you're the OC or the head coach, that they drove down the field 15 plays and got a touchdown. And that's what you wanted. That would be the perfect situation. But that don't happen all the time. If you get a 3 and out, you're done for the rest of the day. That second week, when the second game came up, then you would have played probably 2 or 3 series. And then you're sitting down the rest of the game. And then that third week, you will probably play the first half, and that's it. And then that last game, maybe one quarter, maybe a couple of series, and you're done, because you got to get ready for the season. You don't want to risk getting hurt that last week, and then you wanted to see what these young guys could do most of that game to be able to see if they actually can make the team. Some teams, that fourth game, their starters would play the whole first half, and then the guys that's trying to make the team only had the second half to show everybody. So I don't look too much into him not playing the first game. I saw the hit that Jackson Dart took.
Oh yeah.
Off the edge, and why would you want to put your starting quarterback in that situation?
To be fair, Jackson Dart, I think, is actually looking for those types of hits. He's a psychopath.
He wasn't looking for him in that play, Glenn.
Yeah, there's something wrong with him.
I've seen him look for home too.
Man,
I agree. But he wasn't looking in that play.
There's no doubt, man. I don't know what's wrong with that cat, and John Harbaugh's going to have to figure that out, because he is a weird dude. Dan, what else stood out to you on Saturday night? Like, what else did caught your eye between the time you spent up here? What else is intriguing about this group to you?
It's kind of hard to really tell because we only had one game, but Glenn, the play calling on both sides of the ball was impeccable. And it was a smooth game offensively. We mixed things up. We caught them off guard on blitzes, on defense, the alignment, the way we moved around. The guys, the energy was different. The sideline energy, I think, more than anything, stood out to me the most. Like, seeing how happy the veteran players were for the young guys that was there, that was trying to make the team and playing. Their energy just looked totally different. Everybody looked so relaxed, so happy, just enthused to be a Baltimore Raven. And the energy was high all game on the sideline as these players came off the field. I love seeing that, man. Like, there's nothing more than feeling like these are the guys that you idolize and looked up to your entire life, the Calais Campbells, the Lamar Jacksons. Like, Lamar Jackson's going into year 9 now. Most of these kids that are coming out this year was in middle school and high school when they started watching Lamar play NFL football. So to see these guys come off the sideline and these guys hug them and laugh and joke, and they talking and they explaining what just happened and how excited they were for that play. Those moments, man, you always remember those moments. They feel good inside. It made me feel good to see those guys get the type of reception they got play in and play out.
Dan, the concerns, I think, for Ravens fans coming out of the first preseason game were the special teams departments, not a great punt from Ryan Eckley, and yes, as you point out, obviously the Tyler Loop conversation. And I think you remember from last year, I've been tough on Tyler Loop, and it's not because I'm trying to predict the future. Maybe Tyler Loop is going to prove to be a really good NFL kicker, but as I said, the Ravens, judging him on the curve of him being a rookie, the Ravens didn't have to have a rookie kicker. There's not like a rule that says you can only have rookie kickers. I'm torn on this because one missed kick in the preseason does not mean a guy is going to have a terrible year. But if you combine that with missing the clutch kick when the season is on the line and only making one 50-yard kick a year ago and struggling in the kickoff game, I've got a lot of questions about Tyler Loop, and I am terribly confused as to why the Ravens a year ago didn't have stronger competition for him and this offseason had no competition for him. What do you make of it? Am I too panicked about this? How do we talk about Tyler Loop?
I mean, that's a great question, Glenn. Like, this whole game to me is really about understanding confidence and how do you build confidence in a player, especially a young player, especially a player that missed the game-winning kick that would have sent you to the playoffs as a rookie. And then, hell, I thought the kid was going to be on suicide watch last year. I was worried about him. So the fans are hard when you miss things like that, when you cost them a playoff appearance and a playoff burst. I mean, your teammates, you get some teammates that'll tell you how it is too. So this is something that kid will never forget. It's always going to be in the back of his mind. The first kick that he missed, I mean, you kind of almost had to feel that he had to kind of get that shit out of the way. He needed to get it out of the way. Go ahead and miss the first one, do whatever you're going to do, make it, hit it, whatever, but get it out of the way. The nerves was probably through the roof because the last time he was in a game situation, he stopped us from going to the playoffs. So the amount of nerves he had to have for that first kick, he needed to settle down, and I think he did. He missed. He hit the next one he came up, and hopefully it'll start off a good trend for him where, all right, I can do this again, and he's okay. The kid was a solid kicker in college. That's why we went and got him. I think if you really take your time and just really focus on this kid getting better, then it's a very high possibility that he could be the next Justin Tucker. If you don't focus on him,
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there any part of you that says, even if it's to your point, the sake of trying to push him, is there any part of you that says maybe you bring in an NFL veteran this week and try to create more of a competition in camp?
Every part of me says that.
Okay.
Like, why does he get special treatment in his position and none of us get special treatment in ours? If I sucked him, I'm dropping balls just like Bateman's situation. Bateman didn't have a great year last year. You brought in two receivers to push him. Then you brought in Chris Moore. You brought Chris Moore back too. So it's like, I mean, if you're not pushing your players, how do you expect them to get better? Competition is everything, and the whole thing should be set up around competition. So I'm not opposed to them not bringing a veteran kicker. I would have probably brought 2 or 3 in by now and let this kid know, like, bro, you either gonna be all the way in,
just go beat him,
or we gonna get you
right.
Or we gonna get you all the way out.
Go beat him. Go win the job, right? Like, it's not we're not forcing you out. It's just we want to get the best out of you, and right now the pressure seems to be an issue. So maybe this will help in creating a little bit of pressure. And, pressure makes diamonds, right? Like, maybe that's the best thing that can come from this. It's not even me. I'm not suggesting they should release Tyler Loop. I just think that they need to try to get more from him, or at least think about what they might need to do if it doesn't get better.
Pressure also busts fights.
That's true.
So.
That's true. Damn, I don't have the right answer. I just,
right.
I don't know, man. It is tough for me. All right.
I say don't baby the kid. Throw him in the fire and see what happens. And don't baby him. He got drafted for a reason. If you who we think you are, go show us. Go prove it to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you don't want to happen is the kid loses all his confidence because you set him down when he made a mistake, and you don't trust him just because he made one mistake.
Yeah.
And now you kill his confidence, and then he go out there and he tanks it, and then goes to another team and they build his confidence, and he becomes Justin Tucker for them. That's what you don't want.
Dan, you want to remind everybody about the podcast?
Absolutely. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate it, man. Myself, Matt Trigger, my co-host, We Bleed Purple podcast, and it's on YouTube. Please go like, follow, subscribe, turn your notifications on, check us out. We will be covering all things Ravens, week in and week out during this entire season. We'd love to have you guys. Glenn, thank you so much for having me on always, man. You do a phenomenal job with your show.
Always love you, brother. We'll be checking in the coming weeks. Thank you for taking the time for us, man. Let's talk soon, all right?
Anytime. Thanks, bro.
The great Dan Wilcox with us here on GCR. This is what I'm going to continue to say about Tyler Loop. My preference has always been for the Ravens to solve for kicker, not solve for Tyler Loop. My priority would always be to solve for kicker, not solve for Tyler Loop. We've talked about this a million times going back to last year. I don't know. I can't predict the future. Tyler Loop might prove to be a really good kicker. We didn't feel great about Jordan Stout early on in his career, but a year ago he was great. Now, that doesn't help the Ravens so much because he got great and then he was gone. But, he got there eventually. I don't know what the value of developing a kicker is versus just having a kicker. I think from just a kicking standpoint, in Baltimore, we've romanticized the idea of having long-term options, guys that are here as kickers that are so popular that people literally own their jerseys. And now there's only been 4 really primary kickers. I guess Steve Hauschka was the primary kicker for a while. But guys that were kickers for more than a season in Stover, Tucker, who were legends, then Cundiff, who we forget was really good up until that one missed kick, and now obviously Tyler Loop. So I feel like there's this like romantic feeling of developing a kicker and a kicker being there for a long time. And that's all well and good, but is that trade-off worth it? Is the high end of developing a kicker worth whatever it is that you're going through at the beginning of his career as he's trying to figure it out? Justin Tucker didn't go through that. You didn't have to go through the warts in developing him. He was incredibly solid for a team that went on to win a Super Bowl. Now, he didn't become Justin Tucker, again, from a kicking standpoint only, for a few years after that. The legend of Justin Tucker grew as he was making these absurdly long kicks. But he was incredibly solid and reliable. And yes, the rules were different, and it was beneficial that he could just bang the ball through the end zone on a kickoff. And I understand that Tyler Loop faces different rules, but he seemed to be struggling with them last year, and it's not beneficial to just be able to bang the ball through the end zone. It's a real situation, and it feels like those romantic feelings of developing a kicker, and I said a year ago for a fan base that just likes to be able to say Loop because it's a fun thing to do, and I acknowledge that. There are feelings that are difficult to separate from because of those factors and have a genuine conversation about whether or not it's really worth developing a young kicker versus just having someone who is a bit more capable of making kicks that might not be that guy a year from now. We have this feeling of wanting what Matt Stover was and what, as a kicker, Justin Tucker was. And that's all well and good.
I want a Super Bowl before that.
Yeah. I want a guy who's going to make the kicks. Chris Boswell might be the best kicker in all of football right now, but he had to be cut by a couple of teams before he figured it out with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yeah, you would like to get that guy. I'd love it. But maybe there's someone else who was cut last year that would be better kicking in week 1 for the Baltimore Ravens than Tyler Loop would be. Maybe that's your Chris Boswell.
Or he's from the UFL.
Correct.
And, yeah.
I'm so befuddled.
That's why you used a 6th-round pick on him, because then you can cut him this year.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I have no doubt that in their scouting, they have insane confidence in what Tyler Loop can be. I don't think they're just doing this for funsies. I think they are incredibly confident. And maybe they'll prove to be right. But at the bare minimum, having genuine competition. If you're right about this guy, I'll never forget how insane it was that they cut the only kicker they had competing against him last year. Insane. And as I said, do I think that that's causation of why he missed the biggest kick of the year? No. But was it mind-boggling to me that someone was pushing him and they said, well, we've got to get rid of that guy, when no one who was watching every day said, well, this guy is just so much dramatically better than this other guy that you might as well go ahead and call off the competition. I don't understand how they've handled Tyler Loop. It's really weird to me. Now, they certainly know better than I do. I think. But it's so strange how married they've been to someone who has not shown the signs of being an above-average NFL kicker. It's wild to me that that's the case. I pray that they've got it right. But to not push this kid today is just bonkers. Bonkers. And it's not the end of the world if you're wrong. It's just not. It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
Because all it takes is,
and by the way,
I can't even think of the name. But yeah,
right.
If he makes a kick week 1 and they win by 3, I mean, yeah, I guess you want to beat the Colts by more than 3. But if they win on a last-second field
Colts
goal,
were good when Daniel Jones was hurt.
Yeah,
or was healthy last year.
So I mean, he makes one kick and then no one cares what his name is.
I'm so
where he was drafted, where he was signed from.
I can't predict the future. This thing where you let on like old takes expose me when Tyler Loop has a great season this year. It's the same thing when like people were doing. Glenn keeps talking about Adley Rutschman. I'm just talking about what I see. I'm analyzing what I see. That's what I do. And what I've seen in Tyler Loop is sort of average to below average NFL kicker. Really below average. That's what I'm trying to say it in a nice way.
No, he's not an NFL kicker.
Yeah. That's what I've seen. That doesn't mean that I know that he can't be that guy. Or to Dan Wilcox's point, that if you brought in competition and that guy beat him out and Tyler Loop signed somewhere else this season, that he wouldn't become that guy somewhere else. Again, 2 teams cut Chris Boswell. I'm worried about the games you're playing. I want to win a Super Bowl now. I think that's why the Ravens fired their coach last year, is to try to win a Super Bowl now. And yes, I want to be good again, and I appreciate the Ravens constantly want to be good every year, and that's their sort of organizational philosophy, is that no one year is the year. But this is a weird one, and I feel like the Jordan Stout comparison is the one that jumps out. You waited it out, you developed him, he finally got there, and
you let him go.
Was it worth it? Was it worth his struggles 3 years ago to get the one good year out of Jordan Stout before he was gone? Or maybe would have been better off just having some other veteran punter who might not have been spectacular, but would have been solid and could have been helping you at that point. I don't know. I don't know who that is. It's easy for me to say. I'm just massively confused by the bullishness. And I can only say, I hope they're right. I hope that we see something from Tyler Loop this season that makes us say in October, you know what, man? Remember how funny it was? How down we were on Tyler Loop? Remember that? I pray that's the case. But it still won't make it make sense that they are just continuing to hand the cat the job. I was trying to look at the list of free agent kickers that are available right now. According to Spot Track, Graham Gano, Brandon McManus, Daniel Carlson, Matt Prater among those that are available. And I don't know how many of those guys are in their minds retired.
Right. I mean, I'd give Matt Prater a chance.
And some of them might say, I'm not coming in for a competition. Like some of them might say, I'll be there for a job, but I have no interest. Right now I'm hanging out with my kids. If you want to get me away from my kids, you got to give me a job, not a competition. So I don't know who the other guys are, if that's the scenario.
Matt McCrane and Tanner Brown were the two UFL
that
kickers.
was the guy in D.C.
Yeah.
Right, McCrane.
Yeah, McCrane was,
But, and for all of the long kicks he made, I don't think he made all of his kicks. Like, it was a weird sort of deal with that guy. But
Tyler Loop's not making all his kicks either. So
Griffin, I'm with you. I would definitely say, hey, what are you doing? Would you want to come in here for a couple of weeks and duke it out and make it genuine and say, we're having a competition? And saying to Tyler Loop, we want you to win.
Tanner Brown actually signed with the Saints.
Okay. We want you to prove that you are worthy of everything we've given you. But you got to do it. Come back in, get a tidbit, and get Tubular to wind things down. It is Glenn Clark Radio.
Don't fumble your fantasy football draft. Host your party at Sports and Social Inside Live Casino. We've got everything you need to make the night a winner with massive screens, cool drinks, great food, and Wi-Fi that won't drop the ball. Reserve your table by August 20th to enter our early draft bonus drawing. Draft like a pro at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey O's fans, summer is in full swing, and so is the Birdland Summer Music Series presented by CFG Bank. Hit the yard on Friday, August 21st as the Orioles take on the Rays. Then enjoy a live post-game concert by 90s icons Vanilla Ice, Tone Loc, Tag Team, and Tretch from Naughty by Nature. Watch from your seat or score a field pass to get even closer to the action. Get your tickets to see I Love the 90s at Orioles.com/music.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnken LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnken LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, and you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Yeah, if you weren't with us early, got to wrap up a bit earlier. That's why we started early today. All good. Going to be a normal schedule, I think, for the rest of the week. I'm hoping that'll be the case. We can't be doing those 3-hour-long shows that Griffin likes to do, which is a real shame.
You like to do them. You're the one.
Do not.
You're the one that just keeps talking and talking.
It's true.
You just yap.
Anything that we missed from this weekend?
There was a lot. The Jane Daniels stuff is hilarious.
It like I said this the other day on the radio. Yes, I get it. Everyone's having fun with it, but at the same time, pretending like this is all on Jaden Daniels. I don't know how Lane Kiffin lives this life, but like, dude, LSU looks awful here too, and nobody wants to talk about it. It's insane that you would treat a legendary player that way. Didn't we talk about it on this show?
Yeah, you're right. I guess we did. But then the memes came.
Yeah, I know the memes have been. But I also
new
think
$5 bill.
I got to be honest with you. I think it's already dead. I think that enough unfunny people have used it that it's already dead. So
I don't care.
I'm out on it. Anything else? Is that good?
We did WLL. I guess that's it.
All right, then let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the Stand the Fan Variety Hour.
Nate Wiggins back at practice.
Oh, that is good. Of course, that's what. By the way, that means Jesse Minter 2 for 2, right? Because he said Zay Flowers was day to day, and he was back within a couple days, and he said Nate Wiggins will be back next week, and he was back next week.
Teddy Buchanan at practice as well.
Well, he was obviously last Friday activated off the PUP list, and so. Yeah, I mean, we all think they're going to slow roll it with Teddy Buchanan, but does it put September 13th? I guess there's no injuries anymore. Like, I guess that at this point, everyone's just you're going to tear your ACL, and they're like, yeah, but I'll be back next week. Like, I have no idea, like, what to make of this. But, yeah, Teddy Buchanan was activated off PUP last Friday, and we'll see. Maybe September 13th is in play. I know Jay Higgins was concussed on Saturday night, so they'll have to monitor that. You would assume that's not going to linger towards the start of the season, but could be a big deal if Teddy Buchanan is available to start the season, which would just be wild given the significance of the injury that he suffered late last year. Stand the Fan, Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson talking baseball tonight at 5:15. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan shows brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn with 2 great locations, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium. Not only will they be talking about the Orioles, but also I think Ross is going to tell some stories about the late Tommy John, who passed away this weekend, who, of course, for so many, we only think of him for the surgery that's named after him, but Tommy John had a hell of a career. So I think Ross is going to be telling some stories about Tommy John tonight as well.
Joshua Baez of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, 3 home runs.
3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats. First pitch he saw in his MLB career, went 450 dead center. 9th player in MLB history. He's the first player ever with 3 home runs in his debut. That's never happened.
Yes.
9th player to have 2 home runs in his first career game.
Yeah, I'm so sure.
It happened twice already this year, back in March.
I'm so
2
sure.
different guys.
I'm so
2 homers
sure.
in their debuts. I don't think it's playing anymore. Or at least, I guess.
Oh, good. I'll definitely be able to come up with that.
Diamondbacks catcher on March 31st in his MLB debut.
I don't know who the Diamondbacks
shares a name with a late pitcher that passed away in the last decade. I think actually, I guess a decade ago.
In the last decade. Shares a name. I don't think they have a Roy Halladay.
No.
Shares a name. Shares a name with Ventura?
No, Fernandez.
Oh, Jose Fernandez.
Jose Fernandez.
Could have been here a while.
2 homers in his debut with the Diamondbacks earlier this year. Yeah, and then
this
another one.
Go well.
Cleveland Guardian also this year.
This
back
year,
on opening day.
DeLauder?
Yeah, Chase DeLauder.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that. You do know baseball. You know baseball.
Sure.
Trevor Story did this.
Oh, okay.
JP Aaron Sebia did this.
Sure. All the legends of the game.
Those are the recent ones. 1999, Mark Quinn.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Quinn's son.
Bert Campaneris.
Okay, he's at least relevant.
Bob Neiman.
Oh, sure, Bob Neiman. Right.
And then back to the first guy to ever do this, 1889.
Was it with the Bridegrooms?
I don't have Sarah Langs didn't share the teams. Sorry.
Blame
it on Sarah Langs. Charlie Riley.
Sure.
First guy ever to do this. I got a couple of good ones. Let's do. All right, I want to do this one. We'll do. Aaron Boone got ejected over the weekend for the 50th time in his career. Second most among active managers. 25th all time.
Second most among active managers. I can't believe there's one with more.
Let's do. I don't know. I guess you just have you. Who? All right, we'll do the top 5. There are 25 active managers. There are 5 active managers who have been ejected 25 times in their career.
Earl.
Active.
Oh, active.
Do you want to do all time, or
I thought no.
We can do all time tomorrow.
Who's been around longer than Aaron Boone? I got to think about who that. Oh, Francona?
Yes, Terry Francona.
Yeah, I mean that's only based on longevity that I.
55 ejections.
I got nothing else.
Well, yeah, Boone has been ejected 50 times in 1,300 games. Terry Francona has been ejected 55 times in just under 4,000.
What about Kevin Cash?
Kevin Cash is in the top 10. He's 9th.
He's not trying hard enough, if you ask me. Who else is managing for a while? This is the difficult. Now I got to think about if I know the names of all of the managers. Dave Roberts.
No. Level-headed.
Or his team's just so good that
there's no reason to get ejected. 14 ejections. Only 14 ejections.
What a pathetic effort from Dave Roberts.
In 1,600 games.
Not even trying. Mattingly.
Yes. Don Mattingly. That's another longevity one. But yeah, 38 tied for third.
I just remembered that he was the manager in Philly. Just remembered that. Pat Murphy.
No. Pat Murphy, only 12.
What a loser. I guess
only 500,
only
I guess
500
he games.
He was the manager of the Padres for a minute, too, right?
I think so.
I guess I just don't realize how short the stint was. Lavulo.
I think he's in the top 10, not in the top 5.
God damn. Yeah. AJ Hinch.
AJ Hinch is 5th, 25. Torey Lovello is 2046th. So just outside the top 45. But yeah, AJ Hinch, and then one more guy tied with Don Mattingly, 38 ejections in 1,700 games.
Where am I looking?
National League.
What's his Snicker?
Not Snicker. Is he? I don't think he's still.
Oh, who's the manager of the Braves?
They hired a new guy, Walt.
Walt Weiss. Right, I forgot
Weiss.
about that. Yeah, Walt Weiss is the manager of the Braves.
Zero.
I forgot about that.
Or no, sorry, he's been ejected 8 times this season.
I completely. Utterly blanked on that.
He managed somewhere else beforehand.
But
Walt Weiss has 8.
I think he was in Colorado maybe for a minute as manager.
A lot of reason to get ejected there.
It's not what's his face in San Francisco. It's not.
It is not.
Oh, Counsell. Is it Counsell?
Yes, Craig Counsell tied with Don Mattingly, 38 career ejections.
All right.
Oliver Marmol is 7th. Alex Cora is 8th. I guess he doesn't really count as active, Alex Cora, but
okay.
Derek Shelton's up there as well.
Hey, real quick, Live Casino Sports and Social has teamed up with PressBox for the best fantasy football draft experience in town. Book your draft today. $20 per person, includes your first beer and hot dog. They've got great Wi-Fi, and the setup in there is outstanding with all the screens on the walls, so maybe plan it for Labor Day weekend. You can be watching all the games. Also, every commissioner and team gets special prizes and promo items, including a championship ring and a draft board. And think about that's just for $20 a person. Go to Open Table Sports and Social Maryland and make your reservation to host your fantasy football draft inside Sports and Social. Let's get tubular, shall we? Yeah, shall we? Maybe instead of you doing whatever it is that you were doing that wasn't.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise, and the Orioles will go for that 4-game sweep of the Rays tonight. Brandon Young on the mound, but faces Shane McClanahan. 6:05. They did move it up a little bit. 6:05 first pitch on Masson. Everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com sports-wise. Non-sports, anything?
I guess not. I can't remember anything off the top of my head.
Okay.
What's today, Monday? Never mind. Always Sunny, season 18.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I've not seen any promos for it.
Season 18 of Always Sunny in
Oh, that's
Philadelphia.
great news.
FX, Hulu tomorrow.
I'll be damned. All right.
An American Ninja
Apparently
Warrior.
they're doing 2 episodes tonight.
Ah.
I like that even better.
There you go. Yeah, that's it though.
The first episode is titled Frank Marries a Corpse. I'm so in. How do they keep hitting? All right, very good. Thanks today to Dan Wilcox. Thanks also to Brian Anderson. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the...
Couple good ones. Rosie O'Donnell's guest hosting Kimmel this week. She'll have Hannah Waddingham and Anna Gasteyer on tonight.
Oh, I do like both of them. I think I would go to that tour.
How about...
I have watched both episodes of Ted Lasso so far.
How about Fallon's going to have Will
What
Forte?
has Anna Gasteyer been up to?
I guess we'll find out tonight.
I don't know what she's been... Was she... All right, anyway, go ahead.
Will Forte and Mike Tomlin on Fallon.
No, don't
What do you mean,
think.
No? Ariana Maddox as well.
Yeah, that's not really changing anything
That's not
for
changing
me.
anything?
No, I don't think so. All right, tomorrow on the program, we'll go to Cincinnati, chat with former Navy midshipman Landon Robinson, who was drafted by the Bengals, see how training camp is going for him. And also we're going to catch up with Evan Washburn, talk some Ravens after he worked the sidelines on Saturday, and stuff and things.
Yeah.
Hopefully talking some Orioles. Hope so. Thanks to everybody at PressBox.
If they lose, we just won't say anything?
Yep, not at all.
Okay.
Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, Costas Inn, your Baltimore area Highs Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, the Maryland Department of Health, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. I'll see you over on WBAL at 2. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.